Hi everyone. I hope your Friday is going well. I also hope you watched the two earlier videos I did detailing and discussing my journey with God. Now, the word God may be triggering for some of you. I'm not particularly attached to it. You can use the word the universe, divine consciousness, universal energy, Mother Nature, Buddha consciousness, Krishna consciousness. It doesn't really matter to me. What I'm trying to say is that I have been speaking about my connection with the divine, being born into a fairly conservative religious background, Hindu background in India, um, being a curious child who didn't have any of her questions answered because I just ended up annoying the adults in my family who didn't know all the answers to give me. It wasn't their fault, but back then I didn't know enough to be kind and understanding that they didn't know the answers. I was just pretty annoyed that they didn't have any answers for me. And they, in turn, were annoyed that I was asking them too many questions to which they didn't have the answers. So, in the last two videos, I speak about how my journey with God evolved. How I broke up with him when I was little. And then when my mother died, that seemed like the ultimate abandonment. I felt completely betrayed and didn't want to have anything to do with God because I felt that he hadn't managed to keep my mother safe. And, in that moment, the dark night of the soul, when everything around you seems completely and utterly hopeless, you are fully in despair, you don't see a way out, and you feel that the only thing that you thought could save you and protect you, namely the divine, has also abandoned you. That really actually is the ultimate dark night of the soul. So in today's video, I'm going to talk more about how did I find my way back and how did I begin to make peace with my connection with the divine. We were living in an apartment when news of my mother's death came in from India. And right next door to us was this young woman who was deeply religious, spiritual, call it what you will, but she prayed and she went to prayer meetings and she had prayer meetings at home. And when she and I became friends, I told her what was going on with my mother. And she said she would pray for my mother. When news of my mother's passing came in, and my husband and I were getting into the car to go to the high school where my daughter was studying at the time, I ran into this woman in the hallway. I stopped her and said to her, "Look, my mother passed away. I didn't get the ending I wanted." And she looked at me very seriously for a moment and said, "I knew your mother wasn't going to make it. God told me that she would have had to suffer too much if he had let her stay in her human body." And at the time, it wasn't a very comforting answer. When I look back on it today, I understand why she said what she did. But at the time, all I wanted to hear was, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You're in so much pain. Is there anything I can do to make you feel better?" I didn't want a cosmic explanation of the fact that my mother couldn't be in her body, and so God had decided to take her away. I speak about this in my book. Let me just grab that book for you. So this is my book, Losing Amma, Finding Home, a memoir about love, loss, and life's detours. And I speak about this story in my book about what my neighbors said. Well, after that, for a long time, I remained very upset because God hadn't given me the ending I wanted. So I decided I didn't want to have anything to do with God. But then I started working with a mentor, a spiritual mentor, and I worked with this person for 2.5 years. And as we worked, I began to understand it's really not God's responsibility to keep us safe or to prevent war or to prevent terrorism or serious illnesses. We human beings, we came here as souls. We chose certain life circumstances. And I know if you're listening to this and you are having that moment that I did in the hallway with my neighbor, I completely understand. Sometimes we have to be in a state of readiness to receive the message. So if you are listening to me and going, what the hell is she talking about? Why would I have chosen a soul journey that involved the death of someone I loved? Hang in there. I'm going to try and explain it to you. And if you are not in a place of readiness to listen, I completely understand. I honor you where you are because I've been there too. I've been there where I didn't want to hear the explanations. So if that's you, you're free to click away and move on. No worries. But I know now that we are souls that come into human bodies, and this is Earth School we come into. We come here to learn certain lessons. We come here for the purpose of evolution. So when we take on certain very difficult challenges in life, it is because we are meant to grow through those challenges. We are meant to find out how can being broken open make me an even better version of myself. How can I take this pain, this suffering, this awful thing that happened to me and turn it into a thing of beauty that serves the world? I can tell you the way I live my life today, that's absolutely how I do it. I mean, my mother's death, I didn't want it. I wanted her to be saved, but I know now that if life hadn't happened the exact way that it had happened, I couldn't be here doing what I'm doing today, serving my soul's purpose, helping so many women all over the world. Just yesterday, I spoke to a woman in Pakistan. It was my first time talking to someone in Pakistan, but it's doing this work that's opening all these doors that lets me speak to these women who know that there is a deeper meaning beyond their loss and they want to find it. They want to find their purpose. They want to find meaning so that they too can wake up every morning and say, this pain that I went through wasn't in vain. This pain can be transformed into something meaningful. This pain can be turned into purpose in the world. It can serve so many others. That's what I'm doing with my life today. And so there's not a moment today that I think, oh my goodness, this shouldn't have happened. I hate that it happened. In fact, I'm so grateful for how life unfolded for me. But it is a journey, and it always is a journey. You don't get this lesson overnight. You don't even get this lesson in a month or two. You have to really be open and willing. Hi, Laura. Nice to see you. You have to be willing and open and walk through fire to get to the other side. And that's what I had to do, right? So life isn't easy. Life isn't challenge free. Life isn't struggle free. But how we respond to the challenges and struggles is what determines the quality of life. And it determines how we live our lives in service to other people. So, what are some of the things that made me come to a sense of peace and deepen my connection with the divine? What deepened my connection with the divine really was understanding that what happened to me wasn't personal. What happened to me was completely not personal. My mother's death wasn't about a punishing God who was trying to um, do something terrible to make my life miserable. I finally got that. I finally got that we come here for a reason as souls. We come here to go through challenges so that we can become better than who we are. This earthly experience is not some random journey. So it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing. I want you to know that your life has meaning. Your life has purpose, but it's up to you to choose it. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to say, I choose to make this pain of value to somebody else in the world. I choose to learn from this. I choose to grow through this. And I choose to make my life an offering to people in the world. So when I finally got that what happened to me wasn't personal, then I began to awaken to, well, Who am I and why did I come here? And what is the meaning of this life? What did I come here to do and how can I find that thing? And that is what led me back to the divine. Because I understood that the universe was holding me, that the divine was carrying me through all this pain and struggle. And when I look back on that time, which was not too long ago, it was 10 years ago that my mother died, 10 years. Everything that has happened in my life has been guided by the divine. All my teaching, all my clients, all my books, everything that I do, all my workshops, today I live a life of pure service and meaning. And just knowing that I can wake up in the morning and make somebody else's life different, somebody else's life better, fills me with joy, fills me with purpose. When I go to bed at night, the only thing I ask is, I took up real estate on the planet today. Is somebody else's life better because I am here? And if the answer is yes, that to me is a successful day. That to me is a day well lived. So that's all I care about. And this U-turn happened because I finally recognized, understood, accepted that struggles and challenges aren't brought here by a punishing God. It isn't that the divine hates me. It isn't that the divine wanted me to go through suffering and was gloating because I was going through it. It's because we all come here with a soul plan. And soul plans always involve challenges. Because if everything is blissful and happy, we are never going to learn, right? Think about the happiest times in your life. Did you grow? Did you learn? Did you evolve? Think about the most challenging times in your life. Did you grow? Did you evolve? Did you become a better version of you? I bet the answer is yes. We need struggles to grow through. We need people to push our buttons. We need to be in relationships that are difficult because those are the plans that our soul chooses much before we come into these human bodies. We have something called pre-birth planning. And we accept certain challenges that are perfect for our evolution in this incarnation. And I get that now. So once I understood that, once I really got that, my anger at God vanished. My sense of disappointment and being let down, I realized was my own ignorance. I hadn't realized these things. I hadn't understood them. I hadn't made meaning of them. And when I was able to, I could finally let that go. It wasn't about God punishing me or picking me out or choosing me to live a difficult life. It was because of God's grace. It was because of divine grace that I was able to transcend those challenges. I was always given what I needed to overcome the challenges. I just had to learn to open my eyes and see that, see the truth of that, and be grateful for what was right here, for who was right here with me as I navigated those struggles. And a big part of that was my spiritual mentor, who worked with me for 2.5 years, who helped me understand. And so I now want to take everything that I have learned and offer it to women like you. More and more, I'm feeling deeply guided to create a spiritual mentoring program. I've worked with women all over the world, 14 countries to be exact, and I find a common thread amongst all these women. It's not that they're not spiritual. They know the existence of a divine universe. They love the idea of meditation. They love mindfulness. Hi, Jeannie. Nice to see you. If you're watching, say hi. I love to connect with you guys. So it's not that they don't know these things. It is that they don't know how to bring these practices into their daily lives. They don't know how to let go. What does surrender look like? How do I trust my intuition? How do I listen to inner guidance? How do I even know what that is? And that's what I'm trying to impart in this in this 3-month program. And I'd love to work with a small group of 5 or 6 women. 6 women is the maximum, but it would be so. Hi, Renee. Nice to see you. It would be lovely to work with a small, sacred, intimate group of women where we dive into these ideas and concepts every week for 3 months. So that will be 12 sessions. So this is just an idea brewing in my head. Let me know how you feel about this. I invite you to private message me, post a comment here. We can hop on the phone. If you're wondering, oh, this sounds good, but I'd love to learn more. I wonder if this is for me, if I'm a right fit. If you have all those questions, talk to me. I'm happy to answer these questions because this is the first time I'm putting together something like this. So it is evolving. It is taking shape within me. And all I know is that it's going to be 3 months. It is going to be a group of 6 women and myself. We will meet every week for 3 months. And every week I'll teach you a spiritual practice, an idea, a guided meditation, a healing practice, something that you can take away, and then you get to work with it for a week. Then you come back and we review, did it work well? What worked well? What didn't? How can you make it your own? And then I teach you something else. So this is how we are going to try and interweave spiritual practices, deepen your connection with the divine, teach you how to trust your intuition, tune into your inner guidance, learn to trust your body wisdom, find your way back to inner peace and joy, and also your purpose, your meaning. So if this is calling to you, I invite you to message me, reach out and connect with me. Let's have a conversation. Or if you feel you have a friend who would be perfect for something like this, just let me know. Let her know. So I'm looking for the perfect 6 women who would make a lovely container for this experience. That's really all I had to say. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I have loved sharing this journey with you. And I'll be talking a lot more in my program about my own progression and about how you can make this happen for yourself. So those of you watching live, if you have a question, let me know. I'd be happy to answer anything right now. But if you want to connect with me later, that's fine too. Just wishing you all a very, very happy weekend. I hope you find a space in your heart where you can do something nice for yourself this weekend, where you can tune into a little bit of inner peace, do something good for you. Make that a commitment to yourself as you travel into the weekend. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.